Are you listening? Damn.
I was thinking we talk a lot about things from the client perspective, but I was thinking maybe we should talk about things from the professional perspective, like maybe other agents that want to get into the business, other loan officers that want to get into the business, some things that they could look forward to or expect, and talk about that today.
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah. There are a lot of people that have a misconception. I think what triggered it is there's been a lot of emails about mortgage companies closing and downsizing and laying off a lot of their employees because of the decline in the activity from, what has been from the last 2 years. And, how we always say the strong survive. We've been through, multiple crashes and cycles and we're still here, but there are some that are just not in it for the long haul, not in it for the right reason. They think it's just, a get quick thing. You do a little bit of work and you get a big check, and there's a lot of misconceptions about that. So I think that's something that we should talk about, and maybe from your lending perspective, you can speak to why so many mortgage companies are doing big layoffs and closing down.
I think that's a great topic, and I think it works perfectly with what's going on now. So we can get right into it if you want to.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
My thing is, some of my colleagues will ask me, say, how come I'm not really stressed out with what's happening before the layoffs? I'm like, I don't want to date myself, but I'm going to date myself. Right? I've been doing it for some time, and I understand there's a cycle in this business. I understand that around the 2003 era, when I came out of college and I was entering into the mortgage business, I knew that what was happening was not guaranteed. It can't be that easy for you first year graduate to kind of really see these type of benefits that I was seeing in real estate. Mm-hmm. So I was able to see through my tenure in the business that what goes up must come down. So as being 100% commissioned my whole entire life, it taught me a certain level of discipline on how to make money in lump sums, but also save a lot in the lump sum too, because there's going to be rainy days that come. And sometimes it may be rainy months and rainy weeks, and things may come in surpluses. It's knowing how to kind of manage that. So now with the market not being as active and robust like it was in the prior 2 years, I kind of prepared myself mentally for that. And as you know, in being as a salesperson, you work when the market is good. We know what our busy seasons are. We know when it's not going to be as busy. So right now, I'm just kind of planting the seed for when things are going to start to kind of grow a little bit. But for the individuals that don't know what is to expect, they just say, oh, what's going to happen? I need money. I need to go get a new job. I need to do this. They start to panic. And that's how when you start seeing companies or individuals exit the industry, which for the seasoned people, it's a good opportunity for us to kind of pick up some business, right? Even though we lose other business, but the people that can't sustain and weather the storm, when they leave, then we're able to kind of pick up some of their businesses. So as far as on the company side, it's unfortunate, like our company let go a couple people, obviously some good individuals that were let go. It is the normal cycle of what happens. You need a lot of people when business is going through the roof and you want to maintain your service levels. But unfortunately, we can't control what happens when the market declines, and you got to unfortunately let some people go to be able to, it's like survival of the fittest, right? Mm-hmm. Every company wishes that they could pay every single person and keep every single person on the books, but we have to be realistic. The numbers don't justify a certain amount of numbers of people. The applications are not there, so people have to be let go. But
absolutely,
the only advice I would tell anyone that's out there that may be a loan originator, I would say be patient, Take this downtime to try to fine tune your skills. Take this time to really cultivate the relationship, right? Like with Patrice and I'm trying to really dive in. We know each other so well that she's going to feel like Jean's my brother and she's like my sister. Cultivate stronger relationships and be there for each other. So when things come better, people can realize, well, through the thick and thin, this person has been with me and has supported me, has supported my clients, and has been available. So doing that would allow you to kind of weather the storm. Yes, tighten your belt a little bit, right? Don't do the spending, don't pop the bottles, and don't do some of the flashy things. Do the things that are going to allow you to kind of survive. And so that would be my advice, to kind of be frugal in this market.
That's great, really great advice. And I do want to commend you for actually being able to add people onto your team during this time where others are, letting go or getting out completely. So that goes to your tenure, your longevity in the business, and basically knowing what you're doing and being able to manage those up and down cycles, those ebbs and flows. So that's something that a lot of people don't, do, like you said, plan in advance, forecast, be able to plan and foresee when they can spend and when they can't, because a lot of people don't know coming into this business. They think, I'll come in, I'll get paid like that. There are some deals that it could take 6 months before it closes. And so they tell you, at least on the real estate, on the agent side, they tell you you should have a minimum of 6 months of saved expenses before you come into this business. And now I would say have a year's worth, because with cycles like this, where it's up and down and people just at the drop of a hat, the interest rates change and that you lose, clients just like that. You have to be prepared for the long haul. And one thing I always tell agents is, do not spend that commission check, until it is not only in your account, but it has cleared. There are times when, unfortunately, checks have bounced, deals die literally the day of closing, but they've already spent the money. And it's like, you cannot count on the commission checks until it is in your account and it has cleared for a sufficient period of time. So it definitely takes a lot of planning to be in this business and to stay in this business, for sure.
Yeah, what you said was very important. If you're self-employed or you're a commission type of employee, like you said, you cannot spend. If you have a good month, like, I've always been disciplined with the way I save. Even when I was like a youngster, my parents would always say, I went to college and my mom would say, do you want money? Like, no, Mom, do you want money? Because I've always had that hustle mentality, but also coming from humble beginnings, seeing money coming in, I know there's a chance that it's not guaranteed. So I've always had that in my mind to be able to kind of save. So if I get a check and let's just say it's $1,000, I'm telling you $800 is being put away. Mm-hmm. $200 is left in my account to play. Immediately, I move it to an account that's savings and only leave in my account. So even though sometimes I may have money, but when I look at what's available to me at the time, it makes me look like I don't have money, to kind of help control my spending habits, because I know 3 months can go by and things can kind of be not as busy, and you got to be able to have that liquid money to kind of dump into. And it's just as important now. I have a family and kids and all that, it falls squarely on my shoulder. So it's important that, my financial sound decisions are made, not just for me, but just for the whole.
Yeah. And it's funny. There's a meme that goes around, and it's something to the effect of like, where it lists like, your savings account, let's say it has $30,000 in it, but your checking account has $100 in it. And people are like, well, to some people, that person is fine, but to other people, that person is broke. So people like, you and I that have a savings mentality, we go by what's in the checking account, not what's in the savings account, because the savings account is really, for a rainy day. It's not to spend. So we don't count that. So I guess that keeps us with the hustle mentality of, yeah, you see that money, but it's not really there to me. I'm broke. Even though you may see that in there, I'm broke to me.
And also, to accumulate wealth, you don't keep money in a checking account, right? You invest your money, right? Because if you know better, you do better. How much are you really going to generate through your checking account? Points.
A penny.
So why keep $100,000 to $300,000 of liquid in a checking account? Why not take that money, invest it, put it in a 401k, Roth IRA, put it into a life insurance fund, do something else, buy properties, do something else that can, put it somewhere else, instead of just leaving it into a checking account. So looking at someone's checking account is not going to tell you the whole story.
Right, exactly. And that's interesting too. Seeing like, going through the process of helping people purchase a home. And I know you get it way more than I do, but for example, like when someone's purchasing a co-op and we have to look through their, bank statements, or getting a rental, a place to rent, and we have to look through their bank statements, it's very telling what people spend their money on and how they manage their finances. And I always tell people, before you start looking for a home, you want to clean that up. You want to, make sure that the way money is coming in and out is very clean and well accounted for sure. And the other thing is, when we're talking about, 1,000 or whatever amount of money is a lot to some people, there are so many people that They say, I think it's like 76% of people don't even have $1,000 to be able to cover, an emergency expense. And then there's a lot of things that go out in the media and they're like, this is the amount that you need to purchase a home, and this is the statistic for this. But every situation is different. And so, like you said, what is in a checking account may not tell the entire situation, but you definitely need to be, prepared, whether you're a client or an agent or a loan officer, whatever your situation is, you do want to be prepared for emergencies and opportunities as well, because sometimes not having your finances set up or sufficient finances, you'll miss out on opportunities, which a lot of people saw in this last year or two.
Yeah. And like you said, I want people to make decisions that are going to not put them into trouble. And kind of what happened back in 2006. I do see some individuals now who are making horrible mistakes because of emotion. So when it's purchasing a property or making a big investment like that, it's important that we take the emotion out of making that business decision. Does it make sense for you? So just to kind of change it up a little bit, a client of mine called me and said, Gene, I'm looking to buy an investment property, but the rates are so high. And I said, well, what is your return on your investment? Why are you really concerned about the interest rate? Because that's just really the small picture of the whole scheme of why you're buying an investment property. What do you think the rental income will be for the property? In this case, I think he told me around $5,000. So I was like, even with this mortgage payment of $3,200, is that enough of an investment for you to make? So you're looking at the wrong thing. If you'll focus on just the interest rate and you're looking at your rate and your return, you can take about $1,800 home. Is that a good enough investment for you? Is that going to be a return on your money? In that case, he said, yes. He said, you're right. He's like, I never really thought of it like that. I'm here looking at the smaller picture of an interest rate. The property pays for itself and you're taking $1,800 back. Let's focus on what makes sense. And in that case, it made a lot of sense for him.
Yeah, it's a good point that you make, because people focus on the wrong things all the time. And just going along with that, with them looking at interest rates and, not focusing on the payment. On the other hand, with buyers, sometimes they'll get so caught up in winning and being, the stronger one out of the situation. And a lot of times what happens is, let's say a property is $500,000, right? And a buyer says, well, I want to offer $490,000. The $10,000 makes a bigger of a difference to the seller than it does to you as a buyer in your monthly payment. It's nothing in your monthly payment, but to the seller, that's a big chunk that they're looking at losing right now. And they're so focused on, I got to get a good deal. I'm never paying, retail price for a property. It's like you're going to miss out on a situation, whether it's the interest rate or you don't want to, drop your price. You're offered $10,000 off the price because you feel like you have to win. You might win essentially in that situation, but you're going to lose in the long run because you're looking at the wrong thing. You're not looking at the bigger picture. So that's a very good point that people need to remember in these situations.
Valid point. Never really broke it down in that way, but it makes a lot of sense because the seller sees that $10,000 immediately versus the buyer spreads that $10,000 over 30 years, and the increase in your monthly payment is minimal. So the seller sees the impact and it's beneficial to them immediately, whereas to you, it's not that big of a hit. And to me, if you're buying a house at $500,000, your payment jumps up by $5 or so or $7, it really shouldn't make an impact whether or not you should buy the property or not. If it is, then yeah, you should.
Then you're borderline and you probably shouldn't be buying.
You should not be buying.
Yeah, and it's very telling too when I have clients that, it's like for every 10,000 or 5,000, even 1,000 increment, they're like, well, what's the payment going to be? And I'm like, it doesn't matter at this point. It's negligible compared to, what that big chunk to the seller is. So that's another thing. If you feel like for every $1,000 change, you need to know what the payment is going to be, you're looking at it all wrong. You're just missing the whole picture. It's nothing, like you said, over 30 years, absolutely nothing. So, and it brings me to another point I want to mention for people that want to come into the business. We talk about, lessons that we learned in the past week or so doing things. It's not a lesson that I just learned. I've always known it, but it's something that I think professionals that want to be in this business should know. It's okay to let people go. If you have a client that is, having these crazy expectations, they want to fight you on every single thing. They want to, maybe in your situation, go look at, 5 other lenders because your numbers aren't, the best numbers. sometimes you just walk away from people because it's just not worth the headache. It's okay to let people think that they know more than you as a professional that's been in the business 10, 20 years. And it's absolutely fine. All money isn't good money, as they say. So you can definitely let people go, let clients go.
No, it was hard for me. And I can, like, great point. For anyone new coming into the business, it's the hardest thing to do is to say no. But sometimes the best decisions you can make in our positions is to say no. Because what happens is when you get a client and you're like, man, I should have said no. And now you're saying yes. And that client is putting you through the ringer.
Oh my goodness.
It diminishes your service level on your other clients. They take so much of your time and they really don't even end up buying the property with you. So sometimes you got to realize who you want to kind of be in business with, because they could impact what your future business looks like. Making that tough decision up front is very important. I do that now. It's like, listen, this is what the market rate is. If you don't trust it, then obviously, we can't work together. You'll make that decision. I'll make that decision. I'll give you as much advice as possible. And, trying to chase individuals, like you send me someone or someone send me someone that, and I call 10 times and you don't call me back. It looks like I want the pre-approval more than you do. And
yeah.
You're that interested. I thought you wanted to buy a house. So we want to help people, but if they're not looking to help themselves, then maybe there's someone else that really I can spend more of my time on to really help them maybe. And when you're ready, I have no problem helping you. Then you'll come back to the table and I'll be ready to help you at that time.
Exactly. Being in the business, you start to get discernment as to who is serious and who is motivated. And, it got to the point where, I would tell people, these are your 3 categories of the type of buyer client that you are. Either you need to move and find someplace in 30 days, or you're just, looking around and figuring things out for the next, 90 to 180 days, or you're just trying to see what's going on and what you need to do to prepare for a year from now. And so I would approach clients and say, well, which one of these categories do you think you would fit into? And that would really help them see the importance of, what we need them to do as far as returning calls, returning emails, returning documents to the lender that they request. And, if you take forever to do it, then by the time you get around to do it, well, we need the next month's documents because you took so long. So it really helps to give clients a perspective as far as the expectations go, but you do learn to see some red flags. I know, like I said, people that they want to get 5 different pre-approvals, or they want to look at, properties all over and they have no idea, where they want to be. There are some telltale red flags that you can kind of figure out, is this someone I need to devote my time to every day diligently, or is this someone that, needs some more time to figure out what they're going to do? What are like some red flags you would say that people coming into the business should look out for on your end?
On the real estate agent side or the lender side?
Either one.
Well, I had a client of mine that I sent, I pre-approved her and I sent her to someone, and the person came back and was like, well, I can't work with her. She went to someone else. I'm like, listen, you might end up having to find your own real estate agent, because I don't want to make a referral, because I already know that you're not prepared. And if I make a referral to you, then that person is going to try to help you as much as they can. And you're really not ready, because you want to buy in New York, you want to buy in Jersey, you're looking in Pennsylvania, you're looking in Hawaii, you're looking in It's just like, it's impossible for anyone to do their job. Same thing with me. If you don't tell me exactly what you want as far as your financing, you're looking at co-ops, you're looking at single family, you're looking at multifamilies, you're looking at commercial deals. I can't even keep up with what you're looking for. So we can have so many different scenarios. Every zip code has different taxes. That property may collect escrow in 3 months. This one in Rockland County is 12 months. So to try to give you one or give you that service, I really can't. So I try to tell my clients, be definitive with your thoughts, and I can be concrete with my responses to you. But if you're not concise with where you want to be and what you're looking to buy, we can be all over the place. But when you get that, then I can tell you accurate closing numbers, accurate interest rates and payments for certain markets. So what I would tell someone to look out for is look out for the people that are not complete with where they want to be, and don't focus your time on that. Focus on the individuals that are crawling. Even if you do a pre-approval with someone 10 to 15 times, it may not be their fault that they can't find a house, especially now the market is tough. I have some buyers that I'm issuing multiple than before. I tell everyone I'm so busy, but I'm not as productive as I was the prior years. It's because a lot of clients are putting multiple offers and things are more challenging, but we know that these individuals are interested in buying a home. they have to go through more properties this time around than they had to do before. That's someone that I want to stay in contact with. In fact, I actually encourage my clients, every single time you have an offer, reach out to me, tell me, I want to revise that pre-approval letter for you. I want to make sure when you put the offer in, you understand that what the payments are, you're complete before you kind of go in. So I encourage that because it lets me know that they're engaged and keeping me into the loop versus someone that I pre-approved 6 months ago and pops up and said, hey, this is my house. Interest rates have changed, market has changed, guidelines have changed, and now you no longer qualify. Trying to identify the right people, and not just clients, also realtors, right? Not every realtor, not every lender is going to, they may be good, but not every single lender and realtor and partners will work together well.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely correct. There are some people that they'll like list on their website, their preferred partners and just have it out in the open. And I never did that because with my clients, I feel like everybody has a different need, a different circumstance, a different expectation, different personality type. And you can't just put, everything out there and the clients call and then they're not happy. Well, I could have told you that, attorney A wasn't going to be the best attorney for you because their personality type just doesn't go with yours. And I could have told you that lender B isn't going to work for you because they're not going to respond to you when you need them. So when I match clients with preferred lenders or attorneys or whoever it is, it's always because I know that they're going to be satisfied with what that professional is going to give to them instead of just saying, here's a list of 20 to choose from, go have at it. It's like that's not how it should work. So even though I have a list of, let's say, contractors or whoever, I will pick the ones that I feel like will work best with that particular client. And I think that's important in this business to have more personal touch, that you're giving people what they need and what will work best for them, as opposed to a referral and some incentive that they may have for one person over the other. So,
and the thing with the personal touch, why refer someone to someone that you wouldn't even work with?
Right. Right. And it's funny you say that because when clients will come to me and they already have an attorney that they want to work with from their job, or a lender that they got, off the internet, never spoke to a day in their life. And I'm like, what was the motivation for you picking this individual to represent you? And they just were like, I just wanted to get it done. And it's like, but what they're offering is not even, what you need. And so I'll ask them, this is why I really appreciate your pre-approval letters. I'll ask them, I'll say, well, what are the taxes they based your pre-approval on? Well, I don't know. Well, what payment are you going to have? Well, I don't know. Well, what do you want to work with someone that's going to give you that information up front? So I love the fact that you, include that on your pre-approval letter so that they know. And if they do need to come back, like you said, for each offer, if it's a, significant difference in price, they can come back to you and get those numbers. But it's right there out in the open. So they know, what it's going to be up front. And there's no surprises after their offer is accepted. And then their payment is $1,000 off of what they wanted it to be. So I do love that that you do your approvals that way.
Here's something that happened today, and it happens a lot of times, but I just cannot understand why it happens.
What's that?
An attorney I work with referred a client to me. Mm-hmm. Client has not been pre-approved with me. For the first time I'm speaking to the client. Okay. He calls me because he wants to understand what the mortgage process is like and what to expect. He has a property that's been an accepted offer. So my thought process is, why aren't you speaking to the lender
first?
The person that you're not working with is a person you call to try to get advice from. So, why would someone do that? Why would you go to someone that you don't trust? If you're working with someone, you can't trust them to ask them all the information, or they're not giving you all the information. Isn't that a red flag that maybe I should not be working with that person? We spent over an hour on the phone. Hopefully, they decide to kind of work with me, but we spent over an hour on the phone. The kindness of my heart, because it came from my attorney. I gave them all the information they need, but I couldn't help to think, why not go with the lender that pre-approved you? So it's just odd that people work with individuals that they don't care to ask the right information from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's some people, it's difficult to get things through to them too. And sometimes you could be in the business 100 years, do 1,000 deals a month, and some will just still need to hear it from some other source. You have those kind of people. And then you have the other extreme where they're just like not even starting from, the basic step one to get things done. So it's it's very interesting, the range of clients and experiences that we have to go through in this business. So that's something you definitely have to be prepared for. And sometimes, like you said, you can give somebody advice and they still, go do something with, someone else, but it's very refreshing when they come back. And it's not like in a gloating way or anything like that, but it's just good to know that they, after the fact, they really appreciated what you did for them. And even if they, didn't use you at that particular time, they may refer other people to you or use you in the future when the next time arises. And that's happened several times to me. And it's really refreshing when that happens.
Yeah, they call sometimes. They apologize. Sorry, I couldn't work with you, but here's my cousin, here's this person, that person. So it's cool. So that's why I take the time and I answer whatever questions I can, especially if you come from one of my referral partners. I have no problem doing that. But in that case, we'll see what happens. But it was pretty interesting.
Good. I'm sure they'll appreciate you. Like I said, either now or later, the appreciation will come. And so that's all that matters, is that that you put out your service and your professional, advice as much as you can for people. And it's on them to decide whether they want to listen and take heed and move forward, or, they want to learn the lessons on their own, which unfortunately some people, choose to do that as well. So it's up to them. You can't twist their hands.
One thing, like what we were saying in the beginning about anyone trying to get into business, we talk to more people than we're able to actually help, right? So you have to understand that you're going to be knocking on a lot of doors, and not every single person is going to want to open up and work with you. So, keep that in mind as well. It's not, you're not going to bat 100, and every single person you speak to is going to be a client. It's just, we wish, but it doesn't happen like that way.
Yeah, and that's another good tip for people coming into the business. You are going to go through a lot of no's before you start getting a lot of yeses. So you just have to hang in there. Like you said before, hone your craft. Maybe there's something that you're not doing correct that you could get, some assistance with, maybe a mentor, speak to, a supervisor, a broker, someone that can help you in the business to figure out, how to ramp things up, how to get business coming in. But you definitely have to be in it for the long haul. You have to want to perfect your skills and be able to keep things going so you can get paid.
This is definitely not a part-time job.
No. And there are some people that that are successful with it part-time, but you have to be an extremely disciplined and organized professional to get it done that way, because even full-time, there's not enough hours in the day sometimes. So you really have to know how to schedule, time block, be disciplined, have systems as a full-time, professional, let alone trying to do it part-time. So those are definitely some good tips for people coming into the business. Anything else you want to add?
What else? I think that we pretty much covered a lot. So I think might be it.
All right.
Damn.